Hello and welcome to Provoking Tech. I'm Zach and this is another episode of Tech Tips. In this episode of Tech Tips, I'm going to be discussing and analyzing LiquidSky's 2017 CES press conference. So there's some pretty cool things announced, a pretty decent demo of their brand new experience that they're going to be releasing in February of 2017. So about 7 weeks from now. Pretty excited for that, and some pretty cool capabilities that the new version of their client will bring. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. There will be some clips from the show, as well as some just going through the slides and kind of condensing some of that information to give you kind of a good view of what they talked about and kind of some of my analysis on that talk. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so one thing with the new LiquidSky client that I'm really excited for is USB device capabilities. Right now, what's compatible is pretty much limited to USB input devices for the most part. So that's things like the Xbox 360 controller, USB mice and keyboards, and so on and so forth. Your input devices are pretty much what it's limited to. Having a webcam or USB mics, having voice actually going through the system itself rather than having to do a weird kind of a workaround to try to give a voice chat on there, or using Discord or something locally and having your game run through LiquidSky. You can have it all on the LiquidSky server now, so that's really awesome. In addition, like having your storage support USB, you could throw a flash drive in your computer, upload some files to there, and you could literally have your mobile device in the cloud now. Your local computer doesn't really matter. You can have everything set up on your remote computer now with LiquidSky service and truly have a device that you can take around with you regardless of what device you have physically with you. So that's pretty cool too. So one thing that I'm personally excited for this is I've wanted to do kind of a live show with like tech news, with news on 3D printing, robotics, and other tech news that I'm kind of passionate about, but that simply hasn't been capable or possible really for the most part, simply because my upload is horrible. My home network connection is a roughly 10 megabit per second downstream and a 1 megabit per second upstream. So doing like live stream shows is pretty much impossible unless I use my hotspot, which is simply insane to do for extended periods of time because of the cost of mobile data. So this could open doors for Twitch streamers now, people that have decent internet connections, but definitely not enough to upload. And a lot of internet connections for home users is asymmetrical, meaning you have a high download compared to your upload. And that's due mainly because until recently, most people were consumers downloading stuff rather than uploading stuff. Now with people backing up to the cloud and Twitch streaming and doing other live videos, having that upload is becoming more and more important. So that's something that I'm personally excited for, and I think it'll open new avenues to more people to possibly stream Twitch for the first time ever, or maybe stream at a higher quality. Maybe you're limited to 720p, and maybe you could stream to Twitch or YouTube Gaming or another service at 1080p now, and have a lot better of a stream, and maybe kind of extend your reach as game streamers too. So that's one thing that I'm really excited for personally, and something I think that's really going to give LiquidSky a huge boost. Another talking point that I wanted to talk about was the new plans that LiquidSky is offering. They actually have a free plan, which are limited to 3 hours per day, but that's actually pretty generous in my opinion. You can earn Sky credits to use those 3 hours by watching ads. So essentially you'll play an ad clip and earn a random amount of credits that you can use for your gameplay. So that's a pretty awesome idea. I think it'll open LiquidSky to a wider market and still earn them money through the ad revenue that they're being paid from the advertisers. So it's kind of a win-win in my opinion in all points and cases. They still have the pay-as-you-go plan, and then which actually has a price now associated with it outside of the Sky credit cost itself, which I do believe that was never a case in the past. I think you just bought your Sky credits for 50 cents a credit hour, which if you had the gamer plan, you could buy them for 30 cents. So you kind of had a price reduction. And then beyond that, there's monthly plans starting at $9.99. Right now, you can get the gamer plan for, well, you could, I think they stopped, I don't know if you can still get the, I believe they're stopping that. So I don't know if you can still get the gamer plan or not, if they're closing access to the beta right now. However, that's $9.99 a month. Normally that's $15 a month, so $14.99. And they don't go beyond that. I don't know if they've eliminated the unlimited plan or if that's still there for $50 a month or what. They didn't really talk about that for the most part. So I'm going to roll a quick clip from the demonstration about the ad-supported kind of aspect of it.
In the Sky Store, which is a place where you can purchase upgrades for your Sky computer, you can purchase new plans, you'll see that very same free plan over on the left here. And there is, one caveat. We want to make sure that you can get as much out of these advertisements as you can, and you opt into these advertisements and essentially earn rewards after watching an ad, which are based on your interaction and the type of content and where you are and all these different factors. To help you out with that, we limit you to 3 hours of access per day with the free offering. And for that, it's about 6 minutes of ads gets you an hour of access, roughly. So it's much less than television. And you can, once again, control when you watch those ads. So I want to show you kind of how that works right now. So here's an advertisement. It looks like Samsung popped up this time.
Oh, this is amazing. Right, Lil Wayne?
Shh. I can't talk right now, Wesley Snipes. I'm delivering this baby elephant.
The new virtual reality-powered Galaxy S7 Edge.
And you can see it's giving me a certain amount of credits, which is actually a bit of a random factor. So users have the opportunity to earn just an absurd amount of credits, but also earn the amount of credits that pay for their instance, obviously. And that's generated based on all these different factors from the advertising network for us. But there's a bit of a random factor that we add to it just to give users a chance to have an access to that massive pool of Sky credits. And they were actually just added to my Sky credits here. So I'm not going to lie. I know the support people at LiquidSky, and they gave me 3,000 credits for the demo. But you can earn them using just this right here. So that's something that we're pretty proud of. And when you're in the actual LiquidSky client, if an opportunity arises where the advertising network decides, hey, you can earn a whole lot of credits right now because you haven't watched an ad in a long time, we'll give you a, something that doesn't get in the way of your experience at all, a little, red notification mark. So you can click on that. And if you want, when you're in the middle of a paused menu inside of a game or when you're between different games, you can watch that advertisement and have an opportunity to earn all those Sky credits.
All right, so another major talking point from the presentation or the press conference is the new performance packages. These are kind of different from the payment packages, and actually the gamer plan used to be one of the payment packages. So the gamer plan is essentially the high performance package. If you already have LiquidSky, that's essentially what that is. And the Pro is the ultra performance package. There are some pretty big differences. The major thing is the gamer plan, the lowest end plan, now starts with 2 GB of video RAM. That is where the ultra plan, the highest end plan with the current generation of the client, actually was maxed out at. So now the very minimum is the previous maximum in terms of GPU performance. They didn't really give numbers on like the actual performance, whether if that's any better of a graphics card or what. So beyond that, it still has the 3 logical processing cores and 8 GB of RAM. So you should be able to play most games. It says 30 FPS. I would really willing to bet a little higher than that for the vast majority of games, and then some higher end games you might be at 30 FPS or lower, especially if you knock it up at maximum. But you could probably knock it down to high and play most games at 60 FPS still. The Pro line has 6 virtual CPU cores, 6 logical processors, as opposed to 7, so they cut that down slightly, more to make it more symmetrical as it grows. It goes from 2 to 4 to 8 GB of GPU RAM and 3, 6 to 12 logical processors. And that one now has 4 GB of GPU VRAM, as I just mentioned. So they don't really mention what if the processing power is increased with that the increase in VRAM, but that's definitely be good if you want to play with high resolution textures, and all that texture data needs to be in the VRAM. So let's just a general improvement overall, and definitely something that is welcome. And now they're introducing the Elite package. That includes 8 gigabytes of GPU VRAM, which is what a lot of the 1080 GTX 1080s have by default. They don't mention if it kind of has performance on par with the GTX 1080. So that's something to still be seen. We'll be excited once I have my hands on this, do some benchmarks, and see really how far you can push the LiquidSky packages on different levels now. It has an insane 12 logical processing cores, which is just ridiculous, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, for the most part, your GPU is still going to be your bottleneck in that more than likely, and a lot of people, your network connection is going to be the biggest bottleneck, to be honest. In the actual press conference, not in the package that the PDF package that they have, they actually put 4K there, so there's a little bit of disparity between that. So remains to be seen. I don't know if they'll actually support 4K resolution. Right now, the maximum you can actually turn the LiquidSky computer up to is 1080p, so that's to be seen still. This is something that's definitely going to be interesting once we get our hands on it, to see kind of what we can actually do with it, how much power and performance we can pump out of these machines. So definitely cool news overall. One thing to point out now is the Sky credits. They might seem like a huge increase, but what I'm assuming they're going to do is any Sky credits that you currently have, they're just going to multiply that by 60, because that is essentially what the cost has been done. It's just a straight up 60 increase. So previously the low end package was 1 Sky credit per hour, and the ultra performance mode, which is essentially the Pro, was 2 Sky credits per hour. So I'm assuming that the cost will hopefully scale to be equal to that, whereas you could buy 1 Sky credit for 30 cents. I'm hoping you can now buy 60 Sky credits for 30 cents. Hope that's about fair. And based on kind of how much they're paying for ads, I would say that's a reasonable assumption. I hope they don't really increase that, because I found that was a pretty good point between the price that you're paying and the performance that you're getting. And maybe they might even go down, because they do mention how they're reducing costs with the new client. They kind of actually started from scratch on the very base hardware, how it interacts with the hypervisor, and very technical stuff. And if you're interested in that, I hope they upload the entire presentation to YouTube, as there's some pretty technical stuff. If you're interested into like the more geekier side of how LiquidSky, how their package works, and how it has such low latency compared to the competitors. Where the competitors are trying to go for custom hardware, they actually just went straight for programming, because Ian, the founder of LiquidSky, he's a programmer, and he kind of attacked the project as a programmer more than just trying to throw more resources at the issue. He actually tried to make a solution to the issue, and in terms of latency, it's perfect. Outside of the graphical glitches that I've been getting, and if you watch my other videos, you'll kind of see those. And I hope those are improved in the new client. But outside of those, that's pretty much my biggest complaint right now in games. Honestly, I could play more competitive games even with the latency that's there. I'm not really playing it to be super competitive, so I'd be completely fine playing in Overwatch competitive mode on the LiquidSky client if it wasn't for those graphical glitches, which when those happen, sometimes it stutters. So that could mean your life or death, but a couple of milliseconds latency to me probably isn't going to make me any worse than I already am, to be honest. So pretty cool to see where this is going to go. We'll play a short clip after this about the Ian talking about the different packages. So let's go ahead and jump right to that.
I now have access to choose what performance I want to run that game with. And the Elite package is something that we're just announcing today. It's actually giving you essentially 4 times the power of the existing performance packages, and we've went ahead and doubled the performance horsepower of the other 2 packages that we had in the existing beta to date. So we went and doubled everyone's hardware, and now we have this new Elite performance package, which is the equivalent of a $3,000 computer, or actually a little bit more.
One more takeaway from the press conference is just something pretty simple, that LiquidSky is trying to get some custom hardware. These are just some different renders to show kind of the concept. You can kind of see the same things with, this is somewhat similar to a Chromecast. The newer Chromecast actually has an Ethernet port, so it's kind of similar to that. Or a Roku. There's a more of a tabletop one, like kind of like a mini console that's more like a Roku that you're used to. So these are just going to be streaming devices that let you connect to the LiquidSky's client to make it even more accessible. So with your free package, cheap hardware like this that plugs directly into your TV or your monitor, it's going to make it pretty easy to get onto LiquidSky's service. As long as you have that decent internet connection, that's going to be the biggest point of where you're probably going to have the biggest bottlenecks, to be quite honest with, especially with the internet infrastructure around the world, how it is. So just keep that in mind. And just going to go through a couple of these real quick. Here's the one that plugs directly into the TV. So you have an Ethernet port. You have probably your power in, more than likely. Then you have 2 USB ports for input devices, whether that be Xbox controllers, keyboards, and as we saw with the upcoming enhanced USB device capabilities, could even be a flash drive or something along those lines. And it looks like it has an external Wi-Fi adapter, probably for a little bit better performance of Wi-Fi. And then again, these are just concepts, so they don't have hard stats on any of this stuff yet. Assume that if it does have Wi-Fi, it will be something. Hopefully, they support AC Wi-Fi, just so you have the best possible connection you can have. So here's kind of their tabletop one. Just have power in, your Ethernet connection, 4 USBs, and then HDMI. It's theoretically possible that you could even plug a Wi-Fi USB adapter in there. So we'll just wait to be seen and what kind of hardware supporters actually come out with that are essentially Sky approved. So one final thing I wanted to show was kind of a clip that shows off the new user interface and a little bit of gameplay with Ian playing in the game. It's kind of inspired by Ian. When you get at the very beginning, he kind of goes into technical talk and stuff. And someone that young that is kind of pushing this technology so far forward is pretty inspiring because it's amazing. Like these big huge companies like Cisco and everybody, all these networking companies haven't been able to do something. And this young kid, he had the idea to do this and it's pushed it forward, and it's literally the best service out there on the market right now. In terms of performance, especially in games and in latency. AWS has a perfectly fine service if you're going to be running a lot of different hardware, such as Autodesk Inventor, even, or your more enterprise type hardware, Office 365 machines in the cloud. But for the price of this machine, it's pretty awesome. Unless you're literally running your machine all the time, then those other services become more in line. But when latency is the key, there's literally nothing that really can keep up with LiquidSky at this time. So it's pretty awesome. And I do suggest, if they uploaded the video to their YouTube channel, to go watch that, especially if you're to the more technical side. He kind of dives, how they went after shaving just milliseconds off of the communication between a hypervisor. So it's a pretty cool talk. And there's some talk about some of the advisors and stuff before, at the very beginning, kind of how he saw what Ian was doing, and he decided to support the project. So it's a pretty cool press conference if you're definitely interested into the more technical side. And I just kind of tried to take out and get some analysis on the pure kind of consumer side. But if you are interested in the technical side, I do recommend watching the full press conference if they make it available. So one thing to keep in mind with the new user interface, it's pretty slick. I like it. A couple things is you still have the full Windows environment if that's what you like, and that's personally what I like. But if I wanted to get into a game really quick, I love the user interface. And in addition, it looks like they're actually going to be trying to get a little bit into the social media platform. It was pretty very basic, to be honest. Of what they had is just a little chat, some quick web-based, probably HTML5 games that along the bottom, and you could watch some Twitch streams, suggested videos kind of based on what you're playing, the games that you've installed, and so on and so forth. So some very basic inner workings, beginnings of it could be a good social media platform. in the end could be something that could compete with, like, you know, Xbox Live or something along those lines, where you have a network of people that you could kind of group together. You kind of had it showed a group menu in the bottom right. They didn't really dive into details on a lot of that stuff. I think a lot of that they're still kind of working on and trying to get it polished for the February launch. So I'm hoping that by already having beta access to the current generation, that I might be able to get in earlier than February, or maybe that's when beta users will be able to get in at February. That wasn't also made very clear. So hopefully more news will be made in the near future. I do know that they had alpha registrations for a brief period of time that I missed being able to sign it to, but they had an NDA where you couldn't disclose what you were doing, and kind of for what I want to test it for, probably wouldn't have been a good match anyways. So I don't know how long the alpha lasts, if that's going to last from now until February when they're going to open it up further, or what. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where they go from there. So without further delay, let's go ahead and play that demonstration of the new user interface and a little bit of gameplay from the new client.
We have sound this time. I guess that somehow did it. So this is actually what you're greeted with now in the new LiquidSky every single time you open it. It's our way of making sure that you know that you're now in a different place, which we once again refer to the sky, where anything's possible. You can open any application, just click something, install something, and know that it works, except for volume on your local device. That sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. You got to kind of wing it and just hope for the best. So Battlefield 1, I'm running on the Elite Performance package right now. And as I said, this is a game that we had before anyone else, not because we went and preloaded that app or actually distributed that game, but because users could access the alpha and install it to their Sky computer, which is a completely open platform where you can install any piece of content. Yes, it's way better with sound. There's a lot of effects and stuff. So it's important to note that I picked a scene where you're supposed to die. So if I get killed, it's supposed to happen. It's not because of anything else. But that being said, I kind of want to survive at least 10 seconds to make it a good demo. This is also notoriously a game that just never works, even if you have, so I have a high-performance PC at home, that an MSI, that cost me $3,500, and we use it as a comparison to our service. When we open this game, it just crashed.
We're surrounded!
Even though it had the power, the game wasn't designed for that device. So this is running completely maxed out. These settings right now that the game is on actually would require at least a $3,000 computer stock. I'm sure our users are commenting on Twitter that they can build a computer for less than that. But stock computers can be quite expensive. And this is actually running right now 500 miles away in San Jose. So everything you see here is just a video feed of a server running a game 500 miles away. I'm actually just essentially controlling it with this controller here wirelessly. That's all that's happening. So the device that I have is doing nothing more than playing a video.
Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was informative as well as enjoyable. I tried to do as concise of a recap of this keynote, but there was quite a bit of information to it. And if you are into the technical side of it, I definitely recommend watching the full keynote or the presentation of the press conference, whatever you want to call it, if they make it available, because there is some cool stuff at the very beginning that's pretty technical, but kind of gives you some insight into how they achieved the very low latency connection that LiquidSky boasts. So kind of where I'm going to be going from now, I'll have a video coming out either tomorrow, if this hopefully gets uploaded in time to be released on Friday, or later today if it's already Saturday by the time this video releases. It's going to hopefully be, or what I'm planning on being, my last LiquidSky video. It kind of goes over using Autodesk Inventor, so it's kind of an alternative look on how LiquidSky's platform could be used for tasks outside of gaming. And then I'm hoping to transition into some of my other projects with Arduino, Raspberry Pi, get into 3D printing a little bit more, as well as doing some robotics things, some very cool projects that I have in my head that I really want to start finalizing and releasing. I do plan on going back to LiquidSky whenever I have access to a new client, do new benchmarks, and kind of share my thoughts on what the new client looks like and how it performs, and just general thoughts on the platform as a whole. So if either one of those sounds interesting, make sure you like the video, as well as subscribe to my channel so you can stay tuned for the videos that I release in the future. One little sneak peek, one project that I want to do is a completely custom drone without using like any pre-built motors. I'm going to try to code something in Arduino, just see how it goes. Going to call the new kind of show, this is kind of the tech tips show, which is going to be kind of like standalone videos more so, where that one, I'm going to call it trial and error. Going to do something and just see how it goes. So I hope it's going to be interesting, and I hope you want to join me on that journey. So I have different projects along the lines of that kind of theme in the near future, hopefully. So I have just a couple parts, primarily the motor, so I can kind of get an idea of how to design the body, so I can 3D print it and so on and so forth. I still need to get some additional parts and batteries and stuff like that. So hopefully I have some cool videos kind of in that custom Arduino and robotics type projects in the near future. So stay tuned for that. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate any feedback that you have. Make sure you check the links in the description below. You can hit me up on Twitter and the YouTube chats below, or we should have a link to my new community that I'm working on. There are some forums. We can discuss whatever we want to there. I have different categories. Definitely would be awesome if we get some people going there, as well as a blog if you just want to check that out. You can register with the site and just like follow the blog if that's all you want to do. So any type of support there is awesome. I greatly appreciate any of that. And thanks for all of the people that have subscribed. Starting to get a little bit of momentum with the channel, growing, getting some views. So I greatly appreciate everybody that's watching the videos. And if you stayed through this whole video, it's a pretty lengthy video. I greatly appreciate that. So now, till next time, Zach out.